some celebrities used music's biggest night to take a stance against ICE and the immigration crackdown south of the border. But how much of an impact will that have? Joining us now to break it all down is Mark Harvey. He is the author of Celebrity Influence, Politics, Persuasion, and Issue-Based Advocacy. He joins us now from Kansas. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Arthi. I'm happy to be here.
So with the tensions in Minnesota specifically, as we're seeing, as we've been covering, and the public activism at its peak, what we're hearing from celebrities on the biggest night in music, is that really something that will have an impact, or is it too little too late?
It's hard to say, but I will tell you, based on some of my research, there's ways in which celebrities can be influential and ways in which they cannot. And so the ways in which they usually are influential are on issues where people don't already have a preset opinion, or they're polemic issues, you know, like gun control or abortion. You generally don't change people's minds on that. And so as a result, you know, there's limitations to that. So you look at something like this, it is a polemic issue, and it also it already had a lot of coverage. One of the ways in which celebrities can really make a difference is by spotlighting certain issues, and this one already has a pretty big spotlight. So I'm not absolutely sure that it's going to make a huge difference in this case, but, you know, we'll see.
In terms of what we saw during the course of the Golden Globes, it was primarily pretty apolitical. We didn't really hear a lot of messages about what was happening in the U.S., although we did see, as we heard our entertainment reporter talk about those ICE out pins. We saw a lot of celebrities wearing those that evening as well as they were. So the question is whether or not there is something that can be done that does actually have more impact in order to get their message across, because it certainly seems like it's something that many Americans are feeling. And we're looking at this, of course, from the Canadian perspective as we watch what is unfolding south of the border.
Yeah, I think attitudes have shifted pretty significantly just over the past couple of weeks, and definitely in terms of the coverage and absolutely in terms of the intensity. And that's one thing that I think has been interesting and perhaps surprising, is that over the last year, there's been very little said by most celebrities during this Trump presidency. It's kind of like they got beaten down after the loss of Kamala Harris, and maybe they started understanding their own limitations. But things have changed, right? And by the way, big asterisk on this, Bad Bunny has, as you pointed out in your report, been very outspoken in various ways, and who knows what he's going to say next. But a whole barrage of celebrities saying something all at once, I think more reflects the fact that feelings about these issues have intensified, and they probably feel a little more like it's urgent to say something.
When you mentioned that it's urgent for them to say something, we saw that sort of apathy that you almost touched on from someone like Billie Eilish, who said, I don't know if there's something to say here, but then also went on to say, you know, no one is illegal on stolen land. We heard from Kalani as well, and some of those messages. How do you think fans react to that if they do not agree with the message that these stars make on this sort of public platform that they have at award shows? Because there is quite a cross-section of opinion on what's happening.
Yeah, well, I do have some research that indirectly relates to this anyway, is that during the election year, we did research on whether or not Taylor Swift's endorsement would make a difference in the election. And we basically did a study where we asked people whether or not they'd be likely to vote for a Democrat if she said so. And that was divided along partisan lines. And so Republicans very predictably wouldn't, it doesn't matter what Taylor Swift says. Democrats, it didn't make that much difference either, because they were already on board. And so among independents, actually, they sort of had a knee-jerk response, which was surprising. They were actually less likely to vote for Democrats when Taylor Swift encouraged them to do so. And so I think, again, that comes back to the question of how polemic is the issue, right? When you're talking about an election campaign, celebrities often don't have that much impact at all. In an issue like this, I mean, I don't know that these celebrities are going to change the minds of anybody who normally accepts these policies anyway. But who knows, it may move people in the middle, and whether or not it's going to be a knee-jerk response or whether or not it's actually going to be persuasive, as we'll see.
Finally, I wanted to ask you, Mark, we've seen, of course, the U.S. president take aim at some late night talk show hosts in terms of what they've had to say, how critical they might be of Trump and his administration. We saw him be very critical of the host of the Grammys, Trevor Noah, as well. Do you think stars are scared to speak out because of the way the U.S. president takes revenge, for lack of a better word, against stars, or appears to do that?
Yeah, I think it's hard to generalize on that question. Perhaps some are scared. I think some feel emboldened. And the calculation that they have to make is the question of how damaging is a criticism from Trump? Will anything really bad happen as a result of it? Versus how does this affect my fan base? Because there are some who will be criticized if they don't take a stand. And they're kind of stuck in the middle. So it probably depends really on that individual celebrity and how they feel.
Mark, I want to thank you so much for your insights on this. We appreciate your time.
Great, thank you.
That was Mark Harvey. He is the author of Celebrity Influence, Politics, Persuasion, and Issue-Based Advocacy. He joined us today from Kansas. Thanks.